Hi everyone, let's listen to the true fact again as continue.
MD hashtag F.012 Nalanda in Japan, is it related? How? To the children of 01? The story of Nostradamus's prophecy by Muse, Joe, Mangkorn, the truth that the temple people were prevented from knowing. Forbidden from reading. In fact, there is an important matter that the evil people are afraid of. Everyone knows and they will not be able to survive. Number 8, continued, 52. Updated 23. Continued, about the twin pair 01, and the result after the twin pair appeared to work instead of 01, like the shadow of 01. It is unbelievable that it is in Nostradamus's prophecy as well. When Nojo also talked about this prophecy as follows: 1009 Luang Fa 01 will not work, let the leader, the shadow, do it. 01 will go to find one of the two things that 01 relies on, which is Luang Pu, who went to get the thing that it took, which is a square box of 01. The following year, it was found during the flood. The first two leaders were chosen, not using their power. And the shadow escaped to find someone who relied on one of the two, the keeper of the box of the first person that someone stole. 1011 having two leaders at the same time in a place same in the city of religion and persuasion of the middle way to do for the king, there will be a disaster. From Magna to Raven, there is a big issue, pushing 15 times to go to Fornas, two two-headed beasts in Rome, the biggest blood firewater in space. 413 The Great Plague will happen again when the powerful let Luang Por Damajeo be the wrongdoer, pressuring the judges, must let the matter disappear, people forget by themselves. Let it distort. Stop the right, to the public and the media, there will be a great plague there, forcing the judges to force themselves to flee. Knows. Joe also posted the following message: 1. The 21st of September 2023 6:04 Aren't you uncomfortable, annoyed? There are people trying to be you all your life? Every inch. 6:04 What happened? Read and confused. Answer, confused. You are not the one trying to be 01, but the twin knows, not confused. 6:05 The inner area imitating 01 is like, similar and more similar than the outer area. Don't care. With that 01 will become a substitute, but I won't get involved because he is also a monk if he does it and gets money. When it slips out of my sight, that's when I'll blurt out, this isn't my father. 6:05 If I see it again, I'll transform into an executioner and harass you endlessly. The subtle twin body is easy to read like reading the Kor Kai book. I can even go all the way to the owl. 2. The 22nd of September 2023 6:02 If you want to imitate Luang Por Damajeo, 01, can you do it? 01's movements are between a young person and an old person, even though 01 isn't old yet. No matter how urgent the matter is, he doesn't rush to get up, rush. His actions are bold, graceful, and gentle all the time, without being careless. He doesn't step down the stairs frequently and run because he thinks no one is seeing him. There's no chance to see him at all. No matter how fast he gets in the middle, he moves nimbly just right. You can do it. Those who want to be 01's twins 60301 doesn't care. Whoever wants to be 01's twin, just say that there will be someone changing 01's teachings. Since 01 doesn't care. I don't care either. So why today? It just so happens that there was the word, Shadow 01, in the NOS yesterday. 01 ran away and let the shadow show. As for twin 01, he didn't care. So I told him to threaten the twin like this. It's not a twin, don't bother. I'm going out. The real expert explained it here. Twin means fake, copy, true FC, which means not real. While we started to see old news being told again in the past 2 days that 01 was cleared of the case along with Mr. Sup. Regarding the embezzlement case of the cooperative, It seems like someone planned and strategized to gradually release news to create events and situations to make it appropriate in order to release copy 01. But in reality, they had malicious intentions to force new charges on 01 by using new construction projects, making merit to build various Buddha statues during the years that 01 had an arrest warrant. But they claimed that 01 was the one who planned, ordered it, and those things. They, the cheaters, evil people, did it themselves, planned, stuffed, and created evidence to slander and tie the real 01 to be wrong and unable to escape. In various charges that they planned to make 01 be charged with those charges and make the court decide without having to meet him, in what way. And they made the cause and effect happen, created witnesses, and created evidence to have everything. When the time is right, they just release the copy, fake 01, to call the faithful to come back to the temple again, to make merit. This time is to invite each other to make Kathan ceremony to shake the world because they believe that Luang Por 01 has been acquitted of the charges and can come back to teach the relatives and devotees. The huge fundraising, more than ever before, because it has been held back for many years, will explode. When they had their fill, it was time to bomb and eliminate the real 01, the fake 01 just escaped. But they did it and released the news again that 01 escaped, but this time, the evidence tied 01 in every matter, which would allow the court to accept the case and make a decision immediately, and cause the temple to be seized. And finally, they sold it to a different religion who was waiting to receive it, without them having to care whether there was the real 01 or not, because the real 01 would not be able to return anyway. Because they did not let the arrest warrant be cancelled and waited for the case to expire on its own, which would take many more years. But they took action to seize the temple first, so that 01, the real one, would never have a way to return again for the rest of his life. This was their true plan, the end. At October 4th, 2023 Wednesday 09.05 Update 24 there are some prophecies of news that tell about the group of merit makers of this era of 01 as well, because between 2562 and the present 2566, there have been many things that have happened. It is a new project that is claimed to come from 01 using the word someone, while the dragon hiding in the body is 01, who has told through the real experts many times after telling the truth about how 01 himself was oppressed throughout the years in the temple from the temple's executive committee. If anyone has read in detail from the beginning until this message, they will know the answer to why it is impossible for 01 to be in the temple and order large projects, such as in 2565, the construction of the 80-year building, and in 2566, April, inviting the construction of 24 Buddha statues at the Kokyu Chedi Sawan by demolishing the original that was just completed in 2562 because it was sprayed with paint. Continued 53. Update 24. From the pink that was finished according to the model, it was gold. Then he claimed that it was different from the model that 01 had previously announced to raise funds to build in March 2018 and drove the piles on the World Earth Day of that year, which was April 2018. At that time, 01 was still working at the temple. And those who know the truth have informed many times that 01 decided to leave the temple in early February 2019 because 01 foresaw that if 01 did not leave the temple would be treated like the temple raid in February 2017 to claim to arrest 01. Even if 01 could not be arrested, he would claim it as a reason to chase people out of the temple and close the temple first, to wait for the lawsuit to sue 01 and until the court decides that he was not guilty. Then the temple could be opened. Before that day comes, the temple people who entrusted their lives to 01, including monks, laymen, laywomen, and thousands of employees, would be destroyed because they would not have a place to build merit for a long time, which might mean ending their lives first. It is a great trouble for all children. Nostradamus's predictions are shocking that many stories are consistent with the events that are happening and will happen from now on, which knows. Jor does not dare to translate directly because it will cause serious harm to life. If translated directly, it will be an exposure of the evil deeds of 06 and 01's secretary and their associates who currently hold the power to manage the temple. From the information that knows, Jor said, 06 followed 02, war, to the temple management meeting, which 06 was ordered by 01, Luang Por Damajao to leave Wat Phra Dhammakaya far away and not to return since the middle of the Buddhist Lent in 2015, and made him resentful to the point of using the criminal process to oppress 01, which, for this kind of action, 01 did not even have to do anything wrong. He had to find a way to escape from the temple because he knew that this justice process would be truly unfair because it was a plan to eliminate 01 from the command without having to give a reason for what he had done, just forcing 01 to come and acknowledge the charges, then lock him up and imprison him at DSI. He can find a beautiful reason to remove his robes 01 and will be eliminated to death within one night without anyone being able to blame anyone. And for this reason, those who go to hell and heaven can see past and future events like 01, and will stay to be arrested to eliminate 01. They will also incur a great sin. For this reason, 01 must fall into the status of escaping the criminal arrest warrant, which is just the process of summoning to acknowledge the charges. The status of the case is just seemingly sent to court. But it cannot be sent to court because there is a process in which 01 must acknowledge the charges first and has the right to bring documentary evidence to confirm and deny the charges. If the evidence is credible, the prosecutor can still consider not sending the charges. Since 01 has not been found, he just has not exercised that right in the case. So the case cannot be sent to court to charge 01. This escape from the arrest warrant is not an escape from the crime that the court has decided is true and therefore issued an arrest warrant. And normally, in this state, in the world, if there is bail money, 01 can return to lead the group to make merit again because he is not a dangerous perpetrator, a danger to the masses. But the reason it has become quiet and has not progressed, waiting for many years like this is because it is all just a plan. Placed and paid to perform a big drama together on the share that will be received if 01 can leave the position of abbot and leave the temple. They will be able to enjoy themselves on the temple's pile of gold and silver conveniently forever, at least equal to the statute of limitations for criminal cases of 12 years per case. If you want to not have to come back for the rest of your life, just create a case to bind them. But what he 06 is going to do, the most evil that no one would have thought of, is in line with Nostradamus's prophecy. I will translate the prophecy from Nostradamus by the hidden dragon for you to read and know as follows. 1. Explain that he will seize the position of abbot of Wat Phra Dhammakaya and the branch centers to test the division of the group. He threatens, drives out those who disagree with him, who will come back to conflict with him from the temple, and rules the temple with a dictatorial method for 14 years. In this case, he is 06. Determined to be the abbot, so he seizes 01's power from Wat Phra Dhammakaya and drives out those who disagree with him or do not accept him. Get out of the temple because you will be able to come back and obstruct him and rule the temple with a dictatorial method for 14 years. It is known that 06 began to drive out dissidents from the temple since 2011 and has been doing so until this year 2023, which is 12 years. But if counting from the date that the dictatorial power was actually used, which is the date that 06 volunteered to do the Mangkorn project throughout Thailand in the second year in January 2011, but interfered in the administration of the entire project in every ordination center throughout Thailand in order to prevent the success of the goal that 01 wanted and drugged 01 through food to eliminate 01 first, but was unsuccessful. That is, the starting point of using a dictatorial method to rule the temple since the beginning of the year, which is January 2011, counting plus 14 years. It will end in 2025, from now on there are 2 years left. 2. Explain that the opening of the temple's old gift amulets and the making of many fakes will tell the diagram and pattern that the evil people commit corruption. There is a fabrication of stories with the principle of false belief to make it a sect that attracts people to believe and have faith in wanting these ancient white, black and green Buddha amulets, such as jade. 06 claims 01 is fake, meaning 01 is not really involved, but claims to make commemorative coins, imitation Buddha amulets, imitating old things to claim their sacredness, making a lot of them mixed with the real thing to raise a lot of funds, and fabricating teachings to create beliefs with the idea to attract people to join in making merit in large numbers because they hope to get ancient black, white and green Buddha amulets that claim their sacredness, inviting with philosophical words and teachings that they have thought up themselves. 6. Those who occupy the temple, 06, will fill their pockets to the fullest, bring as much money as they can. Then in 7 days will create a cruel problem, one of which is to push them back to Luangpur 01 with hatred. Resentment buried in the bloodline as blood-red anger, making a slash with an axe 7 times, which the women who are laywomen see this action as creating peace. Continued 54. 54. Update 24:8. Those behind 06 will find that they were deceived, hidden by 06 and his gang who made the dictator take over the Dhammakaya temple without telling him. They became angry and ordered an appointment to hand over the liars and hid from him on the bridge and killed them and their followers on the bridge. 9. The group of people from the inner Dhammakaya temple went to meet the people from the outer area to participate in the merit-making ceremony, enjoy various ceremonies, and eat together at the Dhammakaya temple. Then they all went home and slept, not knowing that there were 3 armies coming to take over the temple and the group, both the inner and outer areas, who were not informed by the news from No. Jor and Mangkorn Songkai. No. Jor also told about the events that were happening at the temple that 06 used a secret meeting trick to take over the temple and the group. But no one in the group knew about it because they were asleep. If they did not listen to No. Jor tell them, and did not read the story sent by Mangkorn Songkai 1006 will be forced to accept the promise of the goal of the mind, following the previous abbots, namely Luangpur Dhammajayo 01 received from grandmother teacher who received from Luangpu Sat again and passed to Abbot P. Mu when he took the position of Abbot of Wat Phra Dhammakaya. But because of the higher up behind them, 06 will make people not hear anything when he and his group come to search for the treasures in Wat Phra Dhammakaya to take to the higher up behind them without the temple people knowing. 12. From the long war, all merit-making activities have ended. The air is not good. What is provided for the soldiers, both monks and laypeople, is not money, but a place with gold and silver colors, leather seats, sitting on the floor without cushions, seats, where the group can only come to sit and complain and talk, no support. There is an aerial and a crescent moon symbol, with a pole pointing up to the sky like an antenna. And the crescent moon symbol attached to the end of the pole equals symbol of Islam. In fact, the struggle between 01 and 06 through 02, Deputy Abbot is to protect the temple from falling to Islam, which is behind 06 who is doing everything possible to sit as the abbot. Not only to get the wealth that the relatives and devotees donated to the temple in various merit-making ceremonies, but also to give the temple and its land to Islam. Until that day comes, it takes a long time to fight and defend. In the end, they run out of strength to fight and merit, so they can take it and change the place to be gold and silver all over. And there are no cushions or chairs to sit on, only an empty floor. Nose. Joe clearly said on the program that someone sent a monk to look at the treasure. I don't know if he opened the drawer to look at the money or not. This tells us that the party behind it is likely that the people of the higher-ups, who are not the village headmen of village number 10, relied on their ordination as monks to have the right to access the temple's treasure chest without any abnormality. But that also means that there is an opportunity for 06 to embezzle donated money to this group of people according to the agreement that was made before or will continue or will be made again when there is an exchange of promoting 06 to continue to be the abbot or not. But this is a danger of invading the temple's safe. 16. The rebel against the group is 06 equals Duke of Alba. In this sense, rebelling against anyone is rebelling against Luang Pu Sad, 06's grandfather. The conqueror of Mara who will go to the end of the Dhamma, the great one of Jis, as translated by Nos. Jo, is the great winner by seeing, so it means that Luang Pha, 01, will come to obstruct him. That is, obstruct 06, obstructing what? The matter that 06 led the group of 01 who were prisoners to believe and do as 06 wanted, which was to build the Buddha, the beloved part, at the island of the heavenly pagoda instead of the pagoda that would enshrine the relics of the first master of the Dhammakaya, the conqueror part, which is Grandma Thongsuk at this time, rebelling against Luang Pu, the conqueror of Mara and the Dhammakaya. Knows. Jo's translation is not consistent with the truth according to the correct reason that when the rebel in sentence 1 must not be 01 because if it is 01, there is no need to rebel. Everything is the group. It's 01 and the suppression section followed Luang Pu Sad. The rebel means 06. Like this. Rebelling against 06's grandfather means rebelling against Luang Pu Sad, the suppression section, by creating a new tradition, creating a Buddha statue in the style of the favorite section. Instead of the original tradition of 01, the suppression section. Therefore, the Duke of Alba is the rebel in the first sentence, which means 06. Who is not the same person as the great man of guys that knows. Jo means 01, making the third sentence mean that 01 will come to obstruct. The rebel, which is 06, is obstructing what? It's the matter of 06, when they rebelled against Luang Pu Sad, the suppression section, seizing the temple and the group. The suppression section of 01 also led the group of 01 to build a monument. In Buddhism, it is to build a Buddha statue, in the style of the favorite section, who is asking for merit at this time, which the group of 01 was unknowingly taken over. That they were being used to find money for the temple. They became members of the rebel 06 side, and did what he led to nirvana, deviating from the path of following Luang Pu, the conqueror of Mara. Not going to the end of the Dharma, this prediction confirms that the invitation to build 24 Buddha images is actually the creation of the Buddha of the compassionate part, in which 06 is the rebel who seized the temple and did not let the group of 01 know the truth. Instead, he invited the group of Luang Por Dhammajayo, the suppression part, to build the Buddha of the compassionate part. This is equivalent to leading the group of the suppression part like 01 to change their goals and change the plan for building merit from the suppression part to continue following him, 06, who is the compassionate part. This is equivalent to seizing the group that built merit to follow Luang Por 01 to the end of the Dharma, to be his group, to enter the compassionate part of nirvana like the Niyata Bodhisattva. Not going to the end of the Dharma. According to the section of 01, 17, there is the piling up of donated money, putting it in bags, sacks. Threatening the temple officials who are involved in finance at various points with anger, fire, to make them cooperate because they are afraid of being eliminated. There is the loss of a huge amount of donated money that is meant to support the temple, shedding blood, a great time equals blood that is used to support the body to survive. When the body is the temple, continued 55. 55. Update 24. The blood that keeps the temple going is the donations. It is transported along the Great River, claiming to be used to support the people in the country, the Big River, Big Flower in this chapter. It is sent to groups of organizations in various cities, collaborating supporting 06 such as the Reform Council, to the buyer organization, Piebu, and from the City of Jeans, NNER. After waiting for a long time since 2017, which was an agreement to use Article 44 to block the temple for 3 days, which was extended to a total of 23 days, nice. After a long wait, it reached the mayor, Fuzin, above, Turin, to P. Muang, to Princess Solon. In this chapter, above, not the leader of the 10th merit. 18. There are more than 10 people from Languedoc, inner area, and Quin, outer area, with thousands of people who went across the Alps to find 01. While the great Allobroch marches against the Brandis, while Aquin and Bresse will come and stop them, the Allobrochs, explaining that as a result of the seizure of the temple by 06. A large amount of donations were sent out to the people outside the temple, who were not the temple builders, until the inner temple people were in trouble. More than 10 people decided to travel to find 01, and the outer temple disciples of 01, totaling thousands of people, marched to find 01 because they were against 06 who seized the temple, causing 2 people on the side of 06, here it may mean Nene, and Prime Minister T. Aquin and Bresse, to come and destroy the group marching to oppose 06 who seized the temple. 19. Wat Phra Dhammakaya on Khao Luang, which 06 has already taken possession of. This led to the creation of a Kasan, where 06 is the only one who will talk and count, and will tyrannize the temple officials who are responsible for receiving merit, all sections, draw up maps, make copies. Thousands of people, in Chapter 31, who march, Milane March, across the mountains to find 01, Alps repasser, butterflies, who grow from caterpillars, who cheat the temple, found. Golden flowers, the work of making gold leaf, large flower shapes as big as a tray, selling to outsiders, florins of gold. And people who are exhausted from building merit in the temple, gens espuiser, people exhausted. 20. This story continues from the previous chapter, because 06 seized the temple, seized the power to govern the temple, and then defrauded outsiders who have power in the country, set new rules, and took advantage of the temple forces, both inside and outside the area, to dominate with black magic through the Zoom system, and food poisoning. People in this section who work to raise funds and gather people to the temple to use continuously and wait to pass information to the spies and use the method of having 2 outsiders disguise themselves to come and surround the temple people by pretending to be friends. The same group to search for temple people who have a heart of accumulating hatred, who have to sit and meditate, sit and do not see anything. But there is nothing else to do, no merit-making activities, so they will persuade them to be a workforce, for them to trick and use them to work for the 06. 21. The people of Wat Phra Dhammakaya, the inner area, will be most saddened when the organization is completely controlled by the 06 and everyone is oppressed, have no place to rely on, their hearts are empty, only left to believe in their arrogant determination. Explain that the people of the inner area temple must accept themselves to be great captives, must endure starvation, hunger. Endure the cold because there is only what is necessary, whether it is food, which is bread and salt, drinks, water is not exactly wine, it looks like toxic oil, so they do not dare to drink it. Endure hunger, have no place to stay, must endure the cold, have only what is necessary. 22. A large bag should mean something that can hold a lot of things, when it is an item. A complaint should mean that it makes an unusual sound when used. It looks like it is about to break, crying means leaking, telling that it can't take it anymore. The part that carries the temple's treasures will show deterioration if used too hard, filled with too much, starting to show signs of cracking, tearing, showing from the outside. Because this bag has been used with a fake age, meaning that it cannot withstand being filled with a lot for a long time because it cheats on the age when it is used. Such is older than the age but pretends to be new. When it is not used for a long time, it will show signs of not being durable for everyone to see. The third and fourth lines are a sub-explanation that Guier and his friends do not want to be there because they know that they are being deceived by the language of cheaters like that. To put it together, it can be compared to the Dhammakaya temple, where the inner region relies to build merit, starting to show abnormalities in various materials because the inner region knows that there is cheating on the age of materials, construction of various things. When time passes, it will show the corruption in those buildings, and places, causing the inner region who know about it to not want to be in the Dhammakaya temple anymore because of the deception of using materials that are older than the specified age. Will sue themselves for everyone to know. 23. The group of 7 monks in the Dhammakaya temple who were previously requested by the host to file a complaint through the monks but were not considered are driving the flow of sacred words, all about God, in the sky to oppose the Buddhist ceremony such as the anointing of 300 points on the beeswax trunk of the merit side when performing an important ceremony, inserting 2 laws and announcing them and making them credible. This is happening at the Dhammakaya temple, especially at the great Dhammakaya Sitya, releasing the prayers of praise to God from another religion to become a flow in the sky above the great Dhammakaya Sitya to control and obstruct the practice of Dhammakaya knowledge through the dome of the great Dhammakaya Sitya from the side of 01 who had previously been anointed with sacredness from the ceremony during the construction and establishment in the era of 01, inviting the group to do it, along with using 2 laws from the group of monks whose names were in the 7 complaints to interfere and obstruct the work of 01 both grossly and subtly through the great Dhammakaya Sitya and this sacred building. In this matter, someone saw the letters floating in the air at the dome of the great Dhammakaya Sitya with their own physical eyes. That person has a fairly refined Dhamma, 01. Therefore inspired me to see it while going around the great Dhammakaya Sitya. Continued. 56. 56. Update 24. In Arabic, it is a prayer from another religion. 24. Explains that there is an elimination of the original path of the construction of Wat Phra Dhammakaya, which was built to be a place for accumulating merit and building virtue with the goal of reaching the ultimate Dharma according to Luang Pu Sad and Grandma Chan. With Luang Por Dhammajayo as the leader of merit, the elimination and cutting off the roots of the original path and goal is opening a war at a level that must be fought with patience. This causes the leaders to become confused and start harming themselves. Some people have to retreat to hide along the path to focus their hearts inwardly and seek internal refuge. 25. If the royal family means the successors to govern Wat Phra Dhammakaya according to the original policy when the temple was built, the eldest brother is the highest ruler at the temple. On the temple that is like carry that is floating. When carry equals a vehicle for delivering goods, floating from the ground equals not on the path. The original goal of building the temple. When 02, Deputy Abbot, the eldest in the administration of Wat Phra Dhammakaya, but recently, it was discovered that the temple administration authority has been given to 06. This means that the eldest brother in this sense, 06 who controls the authority as the eldest brother at Wat Phra Dhammakaya, is leading Wat Phra Dhammakaya to float in the sky, making Wat Phra Dhammakaya like a cargo ship. Normally, Wat Phra Dhammakaya is a place of merit to take everyone to the ultimate Dhamma. Floating equals not touching the ground, drifting from the normal path, having a driving force. Making it difficult to run equals the group of Wat Phra Dhammakaya people cannot build merit along the original target path because they are floating in the air with a driving force. From the explanation of lines 3 to 4, both words from the mouth, orders, and raising a sword, threats to do so in the mission path, that 06 led the group away from the original path. Meaning not going to the ultimate Dhamma, which 06 was confident in leading Wat Phra Dhammakaya to follow his own wishes. But in fact he was leading it away from the original target path in order to give it to someone according to the agreement he made with that someone. But while he was about to succeed, because no one could stop him, he felt a sense of responsibility and he had to restrain himself, making him not move to complete the agreement, so he was threatened, dragged, and pulled by the side waiting to receive the Dhammakaya temple that he agreed to deliver. In the end, 06 had to meet a horrific death. 26. The French army in this sense means the Dhammakaya temple. The one driving the Dhammakaya temple at this time is 06, as knows. Joe said earlier that 02, Deputy Abbot, gave the temple's administration power to 06 in February 2023. The leader of the army in this section means that 06 is proactive, doing things that will cause the loss of a large group of the main merit-making group. What is being done? Leading the group to do is making merit by building the Buddha image at the Kokyu Chedi Sawan instead of the original pink lotus-shaped Chedi that 01 designed and built to enshrine the relics of Grandmother Thongsuk, the first master of Dhammakaya knowledge, and it is expected that this is definitely 06's idea, from what knows. Joe said in the program on 660118p that he saw 06 standing and loudly announcing at the door that will propose a plan with 01 as a plan to make 100,000 people come to the temple per month. After this announcement, the following week there was an announcement of the merit-making news of the Lord Buddha. From this prediction, it shows that 06 did not know that what he was inviting to do with such enthusiasm, which he thought would make 100,000 people come to the temple per month, so he was very enthusiastic, would cause the loss of the group of merit makers. The main group that would go to the end of the Dhamma also set up a temple management committee by having strange people come in to control and solve problems at various points related to merit making. Of Wat Phra Dhammakaya. 27. It can be rephrased as inside the jar anointed with oil and sandstone, there will be 20 VN before the port is closed equals money and treasures are put in the jar and anointed and sealed. When the second caution by death will create the courage to open the door and knock out the caution. The prophecy seems to say that there will be an attempt to close Wat Phra Dhammakaya again. The second time after the first attempt in 2560, after 06's people moved treasures such as money into the jar and anointed and sealed it tightly. Then it was removed from the gate of the Dhammakaya temple. When it was removed, the temple would be closed to prevent people from entering or leaving for the second time. However, with the resolute hearts of the temple's laypeople who were already on guard, and the hearts that were still and steady at the seventh base, the hearts had power and were courageous enough to open the doors to enter and exit the Dhammakaya temple, not allowing the temple to be closed. 28. It can be rephrased as the bones of the feet and hands joined together with the sound equals comparable to the rhythmic walking. The sound of soldiers' footsteps together and their hands joined together to receive orders. The house that had not been lived in for a long time was awakened and entered into a dream by the sound of footsteps equals the kuti where 01 stayed at the Dhammakaya temple, which 01 had not stayed in for a long time, but he expected that 01 would be sitting with his eyes closed practicing Dhammakaya meditation, dreaming here. There would be the sound of soldiers' footsteps invading like waking him up from a dream. When he opened the door, he found that the condition of the house was shady and strong. And there is no sound of people living there, that is, 01 did not live in the temple. 29. Means that the two poisons were used again in the kitchen of the great prince by two drunkards who knew that prince was the one who had cooked the oldest person's food to death to cause trouble. Coupled with the translation from nose. Joe that it was cooking unclean food to create plants that produce poisonous substances, which means that the two poisonous things will be cooked in the kitchen of the great prince, in this case. The kitchen of O2, the deputy abbot, who had previously cooked this kind of poison in the kitchen of the oldest person, O1, to cause death. The words that the two poisons were used again means that the answer is that this kind of poison had been cooked with O1 before, that was the first time. And it was being brought again to cause trouble, to do to O2, the deputy abbot and the temple administration organization and the group of Wat Phra Dhammakaya people. Brought and cooked by two drunkards who knew what they were doing because they had done this to O1 before. Continued 57. 57. Update 25 October 23, 2023 Monday evening. The real person received a signal in his heart from the dragon. O1 is this song verse, even if you let me see, I can't tell. How many people have you fooled? Hiding the real you are. Whenever I look into your eyes, I see the tiger's eyes. I see your guileless attitude, holding back the evil until it disappears. What is it that you hide inside? Hiding your patterns, waiting to bite. Who is the tiger? It shows its true colors, showing its true colors. Revealing how evil it really is. It shows its true colors. Showing its true colors, revealing its scary true colors. Making us know that there is a female who has already shown her true colors in what she is. But at first, I didn't know who it meant. Until I saw this clip that someone sent to me in the evening, I understood why O1 sent this song verse through the dragon to let us know. Because in fact, O1 means the heavens, the princess. From this clip, it talks about Nalanda, Maha, when referring to this matter. It makes us certain that it definitely comes from 06's idea because he built it like Nalanda in Bangban because he had proposed building it at a big temple but O1 did not agree or support it. If O1 did not support it, there would be no fundraising for the construction. If he raised the funds himself, it would not succeed because his desire was great. But O1 saw greatness as something extravagant and unnecessary in terms of merit that Buddhists or donors would receive in return for the money they donated to the temple. Therefore, O1 did not support it because deep down in the heart of those who wanted to build the greatest in the world, their hearts were filled with defilements. What they did became demeritorious karma instead of true merit. Such greatness had to be built with a huge amount of money that only resulted in creating fame to satisfy the defilements in the heart of the initiator. The results of the temple donations thus became the results of sin, not merit. When the news clip of Mahavihara Nalanda in Japan appeared and was sent today, the 23rd of October 2023, Monday, it clearly showed that this large building was the answer to the donations that 06 embezzled money from the pagoda construction fund to O2 by O1's idea since 2014-2015 when 06 refused to answer O1's questions. Even when asked face-to-face, 06 refused to speak, meaning that 06 admitted to embezzling money donated to build the pagoda in Kanchanaburi for the first time. At most 700 million baht, as disbursed from the finance fund of the Dhammakaya temple, or at least 400 million baht according to the news that Dr. Manau gave in the newspaper. However, Manau gave the reason for the embezzlement of money by 06 as something else that was intentionally slanderous to O1, making us certain that they really did collaborate. And it was the reason O1 ordered 06 to be expelled from the Dhammakaya temple and not to return. He still returned during the time that the temple was blockaded in mid-2016. As many of you know if you have read the stories from Mangkorn Songkai that have been sent to us periodically, that he returned in 2018 and did many things. Until there was an increase in fundraising in New Merit since the beginning of 2019 by citing advice from someone, instead of the messenger star, who was really O1. If counting from 2019 onwards, Mangkorn said that 01 was obstructed from all orders since April 22, 2018, and 01 was severely cut off from contact with all disciples, both monks and laymen, by the person close to 01 who relied on the most trust to betray 01, which was 01's secretary. This caused 01 to use a special method, contacting through the body of the outer disciple to record the truth and tell all disciples as much as possible. The story came out in August 2018 and was blocked by 01's secretary. This caused both the person who sent the story to be banned from the temple and threatened others by setting a rule prohibiting reading or sharing the story from Mangkorn Sangkai, prohibiting associating with the person who sent the story. Anyone who resisted would be banned from the temple for life. It was a threat that worked, causing the temple people to turn a blind eye, refuse to know any truth. 01 could not tell the truth to his disciples and was blocked from all orders. Later, 01 left the temple in February 2019. They then acted arbitrarily in the name of 01, raising funds from that time on and until today. It is not that 01 let them do whatever they wanted without doing anything, but because 01 could not do anything. All methods of coarse contact were blocked, like being locked up, not allowing anyone to see or talk to him. And with the criminal case that 01 was planned to be collected by 06. 01 had to escape and agree to leave the temple so that the temple could continue to exist, so that the disciples in the inner area would not have to be homeless to build merit, and hoping that there would be other ways to make everyone know the truth one day. But until today, they still could not gather enough people who believed in the hidden dragon story that it was really 01 to decide to search for the truth from the temple and ask for the real answers on various matters from people involved in the Dhammakaya temple from 02 and the temple administration. When 01 had to leave first, in order to preserve the temple first, the cheaters therefore had an easy time thinking of raising funds by claiming to use 01's advice and orders, and has been doing since the end of 2018 until today. Therefore, every project that Wat Phra Dhammakaya has offered new donations to, of course, has raised a lot of funds, claiming 01 to build things in the temple, but in fact, most of them were done to embezzle, to be used to build this Nalanda because the news did not say at all who built it and donated it. Where did the budget come from, but gave the name of Kumari, to let people think for themselves that it was the personal money of Kumari, built to follow the Buddhist way of the Father. When the image that was in the news was shown to the outside society, it was a construction to support world Buddhism. So no one questioned the construction budget and how much the construction cost was, where did the budget come from, who donated it, so there were only wise people who knew 06's heart, knew the character of 06, and knew the inside story from both rough and detailed information from news sources about Kumari. When they saw the news about this temple, it clearly showed them, with no way to point them wrong. Because 06 wanted to build Nalanda, when he embezzled 01's money from Wat Phra Dhammakaya, he could not build it in Thailand. He had to find a place to build in another country. Continued 58. 58. Update 25. And Japan is a country that 06 is familiar with, having made a name for himself in the spread of Buddhism. It is even clearer that 06 is definitely the master of this project because even though 06 has been removed from all administrative positions in the Dhammakaya temple, he still has one position left, which is the abbot of the Dhammakaya temple in Tokyo, Japan. But if 06 were to build in his own name, he would be afraid that his merit would not be enough and he would have to rely on someone else's merit. At least 06 has satisfied the desires in his heart. So he has gone to support and encourage the higher-ups, the Kumari, to honor the Father. But this work of 06 has been recorded, the best in the world, 8 things that 06 felt very satisfied. Above, Kumari went to open the sign on September 13, 2023. There was just news that came to cheer like this. satisfying the desires in 06's heart to the utmost, giving face to Kumari to the fullest. It's a win-win situation for both of them. The news that has been updated from Mangkorn all along about the new fundraising projects of Wat Phra Dhammakaya since 2019, which have all resulted in a huge amount of donations to the temple. In fact, it was used to build this place. The story is not to criticize. If it is really good according to what we see and hear, we will be praised and congratulate. But because Mangkorn said that there is a very bad background, deep down, about the Kumari, but it can be hidden tightly, covered with a gentle smile that looks innocent and sincere like a kind-hearted person. But everything here clearly reveals the identity of all those involved, and especially the principal Buddha image in this temple. It makes us understand immediately why there was an invitation to build the black-haired Dhammakaya Buddha image as the principal Buddha image at Wat Phra Dhammakaya. For the glass room too in the cloister in Wat Ban Kun. Even though it is definitely against the characteristics and purpose of building the principal Buddha image of Wat Phra Dhammakaya by the original policy that started from 01. But no one dared to oppose it because it was ordered from above Kumari. Then why did 01 say through Mangkorn that this is a tiger showing its stripes? Meaning that above Kumari is a tiger in this metaphorical song, and showing its stripes is what she did, reflecting her identity on this large building. If she is a true Buddhist according to her father, it is a merit. But there is no way she would build such a large temple because she does not have money. If she is not a person with high ambitions, there is no need to build anything big to show off and make people respect her, even though deep down she knows that this was not built with her own money. It is not an issue. If it is about telling people to join in building with me, it is a great merit that should be congratulated. But this method uses a method of having a person, 01's big secretary, impersonate 01 to give advice and orders on behalf of the real 01 equals lying, deceiving, thinking of a project, claiming to propose 01, agreeing equals lying, letting the temple manage to raise funds for its project, which received a lot of donations until there was a huge surplus, using it for other purposes without telling the owner, the donor, equals embezzling donated funds, creating greatness to satisfy one's own greed. Like this equals sin. Considering every project, none of them are really from 01. How can it be? Since in 2019, somebody orders as 01 to make gold sheets to cover the dome of the Phra Maha Dhammakaya Siddhya in the new year. Making the Siddhya bright, can raising a huge amount of funds, it is the first sin of merit making. In 2020, building a Siddhya in Bangklam, Songkhla, but changing the shape of the pink lotus to gold. And the pink lotus-shaped Siddhya on Ko Q at Wat Yai, which is almost finished. The color changed from pink to gold. In 2021, open the Zoom system project. Create a channel for 06 to reach 01's children, instead of the GBNUS.TV channel that 01 ordered not to bring 06's stories, teachings, sermons, appearances to appear on this channel of 01. But 06 did more than that, using dirty magic, black magic, to charm the Zoom system, making people who join the Zoom channel be charmed and obsessed with 06. If they don't see 06's face, they will miss him, yearn for him, and want to see him often. In 2022, invite to build the 80th anniversary building of Luangpur Dhammajayo to be used to train 10,000 monks. Which is the same as what I heard from 06 when he was going to invite people to build a building to train monks at Khao Q several years ago through 06's program on the Temples.ham channel. I knew right away that it was 06's idea because 01 definitely wouldn't build it, because 01 invited his children to build a 2-story Maharatana Vihara Kot for all religious work. Built large, spacious, appropriate, sufficient. 2023, 1. invite to build a pagoda for 01 by demolishing the completed Golden Lotus Pagoda. All that remains is to move the Golden Lotus umbrella spire to redesign and build a new one, containing 24 Buddhas at the Glass Island at Wat Phra Dhammakaya, claiming that it is 01's pagoda. Invite to donate to build 24 Buddhas. 2023. 2. Build the Phra Dhammakaya Buddha, black hair. Claiming that 01 molded it himself. The latest details: 3 Buddhas will open the glass room 2 in 2024, 1 Buddha at the Maharatana Viharan Code, and 1 Buddha at Wat Ban Khun. There is still the Kathan merit of each year, because of remembering 01 from the name Kathan Thamchai, so this donation is enormous every year. Of course, because the word above does not want to hear the name of Luang Por Dhammajayo. In the temple, they still agree to call someone instead. And every activity is smooth, no news to attack, no obstacles at all. Even the story of the 30 sets of Bitcoin mining machines in February to March 2023 has not been news, which is unusual. In the past, when the real 01 was around, anything would be heavily and exaggeratedly bad news. And there would be Dr. Manau to beat the drum together with Mr. Paibu. But isn't it strange that since 01 was charged with evading the arrest warrant in 2017, there was still news. In 2018, there was news about chasing worms in September to October in the Atikorn case of 7 monks once. Then it was quiet like nothing happened, even though it was a serious matter. Reporters, news agencies, all went deaf and blind. But there was big news coming out all the time, especially the Guinness World Record. There was a story about Guinness records. Keep coming. It is not strange, right? Nalanda Temple in Japan is built as big as what 06 desired. It has recorded 8 world records. But where did the temple building get its money from? Whose vihara is it? If the money was obtained with sincerity, it would not have been completed quickly and as great as it was. But if it was done by deceiving people to make merit at a big temple, but then used it to do something without telling the donors, it is considered a violation of the 4th precept, which is lying. Not telling anything but using the money donated by the temple, which was said to be for merit, in another way, is a violation of the 2nd precept. Even if it is used to build a great temple in Buddhism, it will not be a merit at all. Because merit and sin are determined by intention. This work is rooted in evil thoughts from the beginning. And if the action is done for real, it is a violation of both 2 precepts. Especially if anyone knows that this Kumari is a representative of another religion that intends to destroy Buddhism. Please let it not be true, Dragon. 01 said, it's true. Song Tiger by Fasorn Banyakiat. Showing her true colors, showing her true colors, showing her true colors. Show your true colors at 2:38 a.m. the 24th of October 2023 Tuesday. Continue listening. 59. In the next clip,